We have both a good list and a bad list, and we accept both as a good life. So that when we worry, it's the negative list. Instead of pushing away, we go, oh, okay, these are the problems I'm worried about. Now I got to begin to solve them instead of ignoring them.
Welcome to the Lara Jane Layton Show. This podcast is for you, the person who keeps putting others first. Your self-talk has held you back. You no longer need to take a second seat. Let's explore ways to overcome self-doubt. You can silence that inner bully voice and achieve your full potential. Here's your host, Lara Jane.
Welcome to the show, friend. My new best friend, Michael's with me today, and this is going to be fun. I'm really excited about this because I think we all worry, and to a different degree, but it's like, what's for dinner? I got to get there. I got to make sure I have time. It could be as simple as just wondering what's for dinner, or, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to make the house payment next month? Or what is the things behind that future thinking when we worry about the future more than we're thinking about now? And how do we balance that where it's being productive in our lives? And how do we turn that into just feeling more at peace? How can you reclaim that peace in our life of knowing that life's going to be okay? So I've got Michael here with us, and he's going to teach us that how to reclaim our peace and stop all this overthinking. So before we get started, we're going to get a quick word from our sponsor. When we come back, Michael, help me stop overthinking everything. So we'll be right back. Hey, since I rarely have openings in my coaching schedule, I have a new resource out there on my website. It is called the BFF Coaching Network. And I have offered a spot there for any coach that has been on this show to list their coaching. You can go out there, you can listen to their episodes, you can feel a little bit about them, and then choose a coach that will work for you. So LaraJaneLayton.com, the BFF Coaching Network. Okay, Michael, the information about using the show notes, and I know that you're going to be able to help me with this, but sometimes my brain just goes in this cycle of, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? Instead of just letting things happen. How can I switch that to be more peaceful?
How you doing? It's great to see you, Flower Jane. I'm so happy to be here. So we're starting off with worry. That's the conversation that we're going to have. So worry is an emotion, right? Everyone's always like, we're obsessed in America with emotions, that we have to have only positive emotions and negative emotions are bad. So I want to be happy. I want to be content. I don't want to experience stress, worry, fear. Emotions are information, both emotions like joy and happiness, as well as sadness, fear, and worry. So worry is giving you information about something going on. We worry because we don't know what is going on, how to respond, or what the outcome will be to a situation. So worry is linked to a specific interaction, a specific circumstance, a specific outcome, or a specific memory from a past experience. And the emotion is telling us that we're uncomfortable with the uncertainty. Like we don't know. The first thing to do is to recognize that we're uncomfortable, right? That's okay. It's okay to worry. What happens is we take worry and we grab a hold of it and then we overreact. And we call that a trigger, right? We call that an emotional trigger. And when you hear the word emotional trigger, people think it's about identifying with the emotion. Like my trigger is anger, my trigger is fear, my trigger is anxiety, versus looking at a trigger as I experience the emotion and then I have an overreaction in proportion to that stimuli. When we worry and we grab hold of it, we're overreacting to worry rather than recognizing that we're uncomfortable. And so instead of grabbing hold, we want to ask ourselves what questions? What am I worried about? What is the outcome? What is happening? What are the circumstances? And then recognize that worry is either just an alarm telling us that something's wrong, that it's not yet become a major problem if we don't ignore it, or it just means we're uncomfortable. And these are two different scenarios. So you would want to ask me, like, what is the difference between the uncomfortability versus the alarm? Right? That's the most important thing next to ask. Right?
Okay, then what's the difference?
Well, the uncomfortability is something positive, right? You're worried about an upcoming high school or college reunion. You haven't seen friends in 10 years. You're worried at work about an upcoming presentation. You've worked really hard. You're a good person. You've put in the effort. You've checked all the boxes. You've crossed all the T's. But it's an important presentation. And you're worried because it means something to you. But there's no more work to be done. There's no more effort to have. There's nothing to be solved. It just means that at this present moment, you're uncomfortable because there's an importance related to it. If that's all it is, we have to just acknowledge the worry. And then we have to do either cognitive behavioral therapy or repetitive behavioral therapy, where we have to use positive self-talk, Stuart Smiley affirmations, to recognize our skill sets, to remind ourselves of our hard work, to recognize everything that we've done to prepare for the event that we're worried about, and then practice letting go, right? Mindfulness practices, meditation, reviewing our spreadsheet, reviewing our presentation, going to the gym and exercising for the big event, without falling into the sunk cost fallacy, which we can talk about if you want. The other side of the equation is the alarm bell, right? This is the one where most people really struggle with, because we live in a state of overwhelm in America. I can speak specifically for Americans the best because I'm an American, right? We live in a state of overwork, we're overbusy, we're overwhelmed. I was talking to a friend of mine who's a professor of psychology at Rutgers University the other day, and him and I were having a conversation about the phenomenon of self-help. If you look at the New York Times bestseller list, 9 times out of 10, there are at least 2 or 3 self-help books in the top 10, right? So as Americans, we are obsessed with self-help, mindfulness, spirituality, cognitive thinking, performance, being the best versions of ourselves, right? But at the same time, we're in a society that is in constant state of anxiety, stress, and division, right? And so, and that comes down to another conversation we can have after this about we lack purpose, right? We lack meaning. So because of this, we are obsessed with trying to understand who we are as individuals, but we're obsessed with ignoring the shadow. We only want to focus on the light, so that when we begin to worry, instead of addressing the problem, because that's the alarm bell, what do? We look at it as a problem to push away, problem to push down. I'll deal with that tomorrow. That's not that important, right? And worry is this the beginning of saying, hey, this is something going on over here that you might be aware, like concerned about. Maybe you're worried about your finances because they're getting a little overextended. You're starting to get some credit card debt going on, or you have your kids' college tuition coming up and you haven't put aside money for their college tuition. And you've been like, and so that worry is saying, hey, we better start preparing for this, right? And what do most people do? We ignore it. We hope it goes away. But what happens?
I'm really good at wishing it go away.
Right. It's a negative emotion. It's bad. Push it away. I don't want this in my life, right? It's sort of like I'm fine syndrome, right? You call up a friend and you say, hey, how you doing? What does everybody say?
Fine.
I'm fine, right? Because no one wants to hear your problems. That's what we tell everybody, right? So you say, I'm fine, right? Because you've been taught not to express your challenges, your problems, your frustrations. So then when you're going through your life and you say to yourself, I'm fine. I'm worried, but I'm fine, right? I'm worried about everything. What we have to learn to do as individuals is to recognize that we're worried, and to recognize that it's okay to worry. That does not mean that that's something wrong with you, that you're not broken. There's nothing, it's okay. Like, like throw away the highlight reels of social media and everybody living these fantastic fake lives, right? It's okay to worry. It's normal. Everybody has worry. It's to learn to express that you're worried, not I'm worried, but I'm experiencing worry. See how there's two different ways to look at it? I'm
Absolutely.
worried, so I'm identifying. I'm experiencing is I'm expressing. This is what I'm experiencing. It's not who I am. It's what I'm experiencing. And then what am I worried about? And what are the problems that I need to solve? And that's what everybody avoids.
I really like, and it's one that I work on daily, is not using the I am along with the negative thought process. Like, um, right now I'm experiencing a headache.
Right.
I'm not a headache. I don't have a headache. It's just something going through me at the moment. And so worry is a great thing to actually add to that list. I, I have some discomfort that I'm experiencing, and
Right.
I know I've been through this before and I can do it again. I can get through it. And not that we have to get through it, but to let go of that overthinking process of how do I do this? What do I do? What do I do? It's okay. But we do have to plan. We do get to plan. We don't have to, but you can. You can be prepared for that college tuition.
Well, okay, so like worry is the beginnings of future problems, right? Unless it's uncomfortability. So like let's clarify once again. Like sometimes we worry because we're uncomfortable. Could be excitement. I'm worried about the wedding that's coming up. I'm getting married again. It's my second marriage. Woohoo! I'm worried still, right? Am I gonna look good in my dress? Am I gonna look good in my tuxedo? Is my partner gonna support me? That's normal, right? That's okay, right? That doesn't mean there's a problem there. Just a little excitement, a little uncertainty. I'm worried. Don't need to grab hold of it. We can put that down. If you can't put it down, talk to a friend, talk to a colleague, talk to a life coach, journal. That's okay, right? That's the first thing. So many people think that that's wrong. It's not. It's what happens when there's a problem. And what I always try to tell people is like this is like one of the most profound things when I'm like working with a client, I'm coaching a client, whether it's a CEO of CEO of Fortune 500 index fund, or a doctor or a lawyer, or a stay-at-home parent, a mom, a dad. And I say to you, everybody, I say, open up your hands. Like if you're driving right now, don't do it. But like if you're still and you're in a safe place, I say, open up your hands and look at your hands and look at your list. And on your right hand, you have a list and it says, everything I love about my life, everything going good about who I am as a person, the person I see in the mirror, my life, my friends, my family, my career, everything about me I love. And I have this list over here on the left, and it's my problem list. That's the first mistake because you said problem list, right? And everybody's like, here's everything I don't like about my life. Maybe it's my chin or my forehead or my body or my marriage is going through a rough time, or my kids are struggling, or my job is difficult, or my parents are getting old and I got to deal with them. And everything on this list I don't like. That's a problem. And all I want to do is get rid of these problems and my life will be better and I'll be happy. Potpourri, sunshine, and rainbows, and sunflowers, and everything will be good. And I say to every client, always, and this is something everyone's like, what? I say, no matter what in life, you will always have a list of things that you like, the light. And you're going to have a list of things that are you don't like, the shadow. Or you're going to have both light and shadow. It's like self-help books are everywhere, as long as just like there is a lot of discord in the world right now, right? As both, right? These are two prevailing forces, right? Light and shadow. We want to look at the things that we like in our life with gratitude, right? These are all the things I love about my life. Great. And we want to acknowledge them every day so that going to work and maybe our job isn't bad, but it's good enough, but it provides for the family, right? I'm the breadwinner. Great. I can be grateful for that, right? And we look at all the things that we have in our life and we have gratitude. and we look at the list that we deem as problems. This goes back to worry. Instead of looking at it as problems that we got to solve, go away, we look at it as, wow, these are the things that are going in my life that maybe need a little bit of work. Instead of looking at it as worry and fear and anxiety and let's shove it down in a corner, we look at it and say, okay, this is my list of things I love about my life, gratitude, focused here. And this is a list that I don't like about my life, opportunity for growth instead of problems to push away. These are the things, this is where the hard work is that makes me a better person, because the dark is how I grow. And that's how I become more successful in life. And these two lists make me me. And every time I take one thing off the problem list, another one will come for self-improvement. And this is how we have develop self-esteem, right? We have both a good list and a bad list, and we accept both as a good life. So that when we worry, it's the negative list, instead of pushing away, we go, oh, okay, these are the problems I'm worried about. Now I got to begin to solve them instead of ignoring them. And that's the hardest thing for people.
I do overthink and overworry, but usually it's not the really hard things. It's
Right.
about the little things in life. And thank goodness I don't have to worry about the big things. So, as I'm guessing that a lot of us, not always, that's the wrong word to use, trying to make sure that the words aren't like finite. But as you worry and as you go through these things, as you start balancing this stuff, you know, I love how it's life. Our instinct is to prepare for the worst and be thankful for the best instead of, like, yeah, it's going to be okay. And it's not wrong to prepare for the worst. Well, what if my presentation blows up? What if the power goes out? I was in um, St. Louis and we were doing a presentation and a hurricane warning came through and all the power went out. It makes you feel incompetent, but didn't have a thing to do with it. I couldn't, like, what do? I can't fix it. It was just what everybody's going through. So sometimes you go like, oh, could I have prepared better? Some things you can't. So we can get stuck in that cycle of worry that's not helpful. It's not supporting our future of being our best self. I worry that somebody's going to call me and going to make me work late again tonight. Now I got to get to X and X for my kids.
And then I'm a bad mother or father. Like, I'm a bad parent if I have to work late, right? Like, remember I was talking about the one time where I was like, you can have it all, you just can't have it all at once,
Yep.
right? But we think we have to have it all the time, right? And so then we worry, like, oh, I'm not a good mother. Have, I literally have had this conversation so many times with my executive, professional, and regular mothers, right? Where they're like, yeah, I work too much. I'm like, well, what do you mean you work too much? Oh, I work 50 hours a week. I'm like, who told you that was too much? Like, do you like what you do for a living? Yeah. Are you like, okay, well, then what's the problem? Well, I feel like I'm a bad mother. Well, who told you you're a bad mother? And then they're like, aha, it's the expectations of others. I had a friend call me up the other day, right? And he called me up and he says, don't you see? He goes, we're all cyborgs. Well, this is where these are the friends I have, right? And he's like, don't you see, we're cyborgs. And I was like, what do you mean we're all cyborgs? He goes, okay, think about human evolution, right? We don't know necessarily the moment in time, but we know at one point in time, Homo sapiens did not have the capacity to create art. And then one day we were able to create art. And there's no signs of us leading up to being able to create art. One day there was no art, and then the next day there were art, and it happened at a specific moment in time. And there's no evidence that we evolved into it, right? And my friend theorizes that It's when we discovered the ability to take bone and stick and make it into a spear to throw at an animal. And it gave us to be the object and the subject and begin to differentiate between the self and others, right? And that's began the evolution of Homo sapien, who we are, man and woman. But we still have an animal mind, right? So our entire evolution is not been the evolution of our brain, right? The amygdala, it's still the same from the point of no art to art. And all we've been doing is augmenting ourselves, right? The clothes that we wear are augmentations, right? We weren't born with clothes, they're augmentations. Did you know we intuitively learn to speak, but we augment writing down language, right? Profound. Like speech is intuitive. Like no one teaches you to how to say mom or dad or yes or no. That's intuitive. The written language is taught, right? So as a result, everything we do is an augmentation. Hence why he's like, don't you see, we're a cyborg, right? And I was like, okay, go further. What are we talking about, right? Because like I have friends that we're all into like personal growth and mindset. He's like, don't you see? We have an animal mind that we've augmented into the modern world. So we still function in that animal mind of fight or flight, right? So we're constantly in that autonomic nervous system, right? We're constantly just on these autopilots. So we overthink, right? Because it's habitual. It's automatic, right? When we're stressed, we overthink. When we worry, we overthink, right? And it goes to the fact that instead of us being self-aware and shifting to our parasympathetic nervous system and examining why we're experiencing the emotion or the thought, we stay in our autonomic nervous system. So then we don't practice self-awareness, we practice self-blame. I was like, whoa, right? And he says, don't you see? So instead, we say we should be doing this. We should be doing that. So then we become judgmental by nature towards ourselves, right? Don't you see? And I was like, okay, go deeper, go deeper. So he goes, so every time I have a conversation with somebody or with myself, and I'm like, you should be doing this, or I should be doing that. That means I'm blaming the person and identifying the action or the behavior with the individual as being unworthy and bad, rather than being self-aware and projecting awareness on others, right? Emotional intelligence, empathy, right? The ability to understand others. And instead, and asking, why is this behavior happening and what is the solution? And so he said, anytime you hear the word should, you're shaming, including yourself. And I was like, oh my God, it's a whole new way of me thinking.
And I'm definitely like the shouldn't, and can't, and must, and have to, and all
Right.
these words that I would love to just take out of the English language. At one time, they had value, and you're talking about the shoulds, and they're all, in my mind, subjective to what you do. A doctor should wash his hands before he does surgery on you. But then maybe that's every hour, maybe that's, however often. But the ditch digger shouldn't have to worry about, so you should wash your hands every 30 minutes. Yes, some people should. Other people should not. That would waste their time. They're already dirty. They got to keep going. They got to get that ditch dug. And so we put my expectations, my shoulds on you. And like my worries, like, aren't you worried that you're not getting enough calories? Or I don't care what it is, but just because
Right.
I worry about it doesn't mean anybody else needs to or should. It's how do we, and I think a lot of that's the worry. Oh, what if I let somebody down because I should be doing this for them? What
Right.
is it that you're doing for you? How do we put ourselves in that driver's seat, in that priority one? I liken this to I gotta get gas or I can't get going. What if you stopped at every gas station and put a nickel in? Oh, I got enough to go a little bit further. I got enough to go a little bit further. And we do that with our mental and our physical well-being. We get to the point of exhaustion and We just take that 5-minute nap or that 5 minutes something, take it the walk. But when do we finally just really fill up so we have a whole day to go? A lot of us forget that. And not that you should worry about it, but it's something that you can at least acknowledge and go, how can I do better for me? I might need to go for a nature walk to refill my fuel. Somebody else might need to take a hot tub bath. We all have something else that refills us, that fuels us for keep going. And sometimes we have to experiment with what it is for us. Oh, John did this, and Henry did this, and Jordan did this, and I'm going to try them all and see which one works the best. One guy lots of people I know nowadays like to cold plunge. I don't want to even try it. I don't care if it's going to
Hmm.
help me, you know? So where is that balance? What are the things you're just not willing to try, whether they work or not? And what are the things that you're willing to do? And that's your prerogative. That's you being you. And how much more freeing is that to go, doesn't, I choose not to try that, or I choose to give it a try.
You're talking about information overload, right? I mean, like, I'm very into personal growth, mindfulness, living a good life, right? Being the best version of myself. And I ain't perfect, nor do I ever strive to be perfect. But we live in this world of this information overload. My spiritual teacher, when I was contemplating becoming a monk, at one point I was, I left my corporate job in New York City to become a monk at one point, and then I met my wife. He used to always say, he goes, the weapons of the mass distraction, right? You're constantly being told that if you take this pill, do this exercise, you're somehow going to solve your problems, right? So if you have inflammation, if you just take a cold plunge, it'll all go away. It'll go, right? Well, I'll just do that. And then someone says, well, I did all those things and I still have problems. What's going on? Because no one says you got to do the inner work. You got to go inside every day. And that's the hardest thing for people. Everyone's like, wait, what do you mean I have to go inward? I'm like, every day you have to take a moment to pause. I was on this meditation retreat, probably like 10 years ago now. And I was staying at this ashram and I was in this meditation retreat. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I do apologize, but it was in a big old 1950s gymnasium. Have you ever been in these old 1950s gymnasiums? They're like the size of a football field. And on the ceiling are these big giant fans, and they all twirly at super light speeds to keep the gymnasium from heating in the summertime. And they're one big giant sweat box. So all the fans are going, and everyone's sitting in meditation. And there was probably like 200 of us. And every day I sat underneath this one fan. And for whatever reason, it would move every once in a while and make this noise. I'd be like, fuck. Sorry for my language. You can bleep that out. I'd be like, damn it. Another bad word. Sorry. It's just my reaction. I would get so angry. And my teacher kept saying to me, find the space between the breath. So, I meditate. What do you mean? Space between the breath. Find, and I was like, okay. So I'd sit there and I'm like, inhale, exhale, find the space between the breath. And finally, after a week of being in this silent meditation retreat where you have to sit still for like 2 hours, and if you're getting constantly distracted, it's pretty painful for a person who has ADHD and 2 thumbs up right now. That's me, right? And finally, after a week of being aggravated by this stupid fan that I got assigned to sit underneath, that kept pulling me out of these meditation practices, I went, oh, I see. I know exactly what he finally means. He means find the pauses in life. So instead of going on autopilot, right? Go to Starbucks, wait in line, get your overpriced coffee, look at your phone, respond to emails, respond to text messages, get in the car, listen to a podcast. Great. Nothing wrong with that, right? Then you get to work and constantly bombarded with emails, text messages, phone calls, husband calls, wife calls, kids call, right? Get back in the car, come home. The house is quiet, nobody's home. Instead of going, okay, let me just sit with this for a while, turn on the TV, turn on the news, turn on the doom scroll through social media, right? Cook dinner, kids come home, run around, then you're in bed, watch a little TV, scroll on your iPad, maybe read a book. Oh, I'm doing something good for myself. I'm reading a book. Yes. Go to sleep. And then I can't sleep because my mind's not quiet. And I don't know how to be with my mind. So I start to think. Oh, give me a pill, give me a drug. Oh, let me listen to a sleep app to go to sleep. Great. Keep the mind busy. Go to sleep. Wake up. Do it over again. Right? To solve worry, fear, to solve these problems, we have to be comfortable with ourselves. We have to be able to walk into a house and it be silent and not run from it. We have to be able to sit outside and do nothing and be okay with it. To be in a room and just be with ourselves, even if it's for 5 minutes, and not be tempted to go on our phones and do something, but just be. And at first, people will say, well, nothing happens. Nothing happens. I just sit. Nothing happens. Just sit. And I'm like, okay, yeah, give it time. Eventually, you're going to start to notice those things that are going on inside you that are causing the worry. And you're not going to like them because nobody does. No one likes it. No one wants to deal with it, including myself. I don't want to debase my fears, my insecurities, my self-doubt. I want to live in the now and be happy and powerful. But it's the only way to get through it is to go towards it and just find that space and just be there every day, not once a week, every day. Doesn't have to be for an hour. It could be for 5, 10 minutes. Silence, stillness, and be. And you will begin to figure out why you're worried. And sometimes that might mean you have to make tough decisions in life. That might be not something you want to face. Contemplate marriage counseling, contemplate financial tough choices, quitting your job. Well, I don't want you to quit your job, but that might be like finding a new job because job's not going anywhere, right? Dealing with those hard choices. Sometimes you got to do that. And sometimes you got to take those tough looks at yourself and be like, yep, I'm the problem also. And deal with those tough choices in life. Sometimes they're hard to face. That's how we get through it. And if it's really bad, then we seek help. We seek a professional if we can't get through it on our own.
Yeah, and I really like where you're going with this because we are the life we're living. It's not the other guy. It's not that other thing. Your life is you, and you are the center of it. And as we find the ability to know who we are, and I learned that through silence, maybe somebody else is able to learn it without. But that person that I knew 3 years ago isn't the person that's here today. She changes, she grows, she evolves, she learns. And being okay with where you are right now is such a blessing because you don't have to be perfect. You are perfect just as you are right now. There's no need to be different. And when you come to that realization that, oh, I was worrying for a moment, that's okay.
Yeah.
But I've got this. This is the movie I'm producing. I am the star and the producer and the director, and I get to have extras that hang around me. And how I view the movie, you're creating your same movie at the same time. Yours is different than mine. Does that mean yours is wrong? No. That means we have different points of view, different ways of looking at things. And when we finally come to that realization that it's okay, what a peace, what a beauty. I think for me, it helped the overthinking. It helped the worrying about what am I going to do tomorrow? What if I lose my job? What if my kids are mad at me? What if a big bill comes in? It's okay. We've done this. We do hard things every day. You're going to be able to do it tomorrow. It's okay.
It's to trust that you're going to get through because that's the next step, right? First we worry and we ignore worry. Then it goes to fear. And then fear turns to anxiety, self-doubt, depression, right? And it's the fear that whatever we're going to deal with, right? That big tough thing is going to be final and my life will end as we know it. I remember, and I'm still dealing with and still coaching clients post pandemic that are still coming out of pandemic scars. All right. And I think that's going to be for a long time. Like, I remember in 2019, this is when I was doing in person coaching. I was doing 2 retreats a year. I was also a full-time yoga teacher, running a yoga teacher training with 40 people signed up, big money. I was running a retreat to Costa Rica, big money, 40 people signed up, projected to make $250,000 a year. Stitching yoga on top of going into offices and teaching wellness and leadership. So I was going to make like $500,000 that year. March 19th, all gone. Everything gone. Not like, oh, I'm working from home and I can keep going. Everything was wiped out in 24 hours because everything was canceled and there was nothing I can do about it. And I flipped out. I was like, for 2 days, I had flipped out. And then my wife, who I love very much, turned to me and said, we're okay. Because we are not, our identity isn't based on what we do. That's self-confidence, right? Self-confidence is based on your accolades. It's all extrinsic, right? And most people in America, our identities are all extrinsic, all
Mhm.
are based on confidence, our job, our partner, our kids, our house, our accolades. So it's all, we're trying to build more confidence by building more wealth, right? My wife turned to me, she says, we're okay. I said, what do you mean we're okay? She goes, we're not wealthy, but we're rich. We're not wealthy. I said, what do you mean there? She goes, well, we can still survive if we don't have money coming in. We don't overspend. Yeah, I mean, like we have savings and like eventually like it's going to run out, but we're rich. We're not, and I'm not talking about like, oh, we have millions of dollars. I'm talking about like we have $15,000 in an emergency fund and our entire expenses is $4,000 if we go out. It's gone up, but like, so we're not like, we're rich. We're not wealthy. And she's like, I have faith in you. Have faith in yourself. You'll get through this. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And I just shifted to building this business that I do now online because I have self-esteem. Self-esteem is based on self-acceptance. I accept who I am as a person, both my strengths and my weaknesses. I don't ignore my weaknesses and go, oh, love me for who I am. And if you don't like it, that's on you. Self-esteem is about, I know what I'm good at and I know where my weaknesses are and I accept both. And as a result, when I get knocked down, I can stand back up. My self-worth isn't based on my confidence. It's based on my self-esteem instead. And that's a profound shift. And that's very hard to do, especially in America, right? Our self-worth is based on our car, our house, our marriage, our relationship status, our titles, our professions, our families, rather than who we are as people. Are we a good person? Am I doing things that I love? Am I doing things that make the world better? Am I doing some things I can get paid for? Am I doing things that have meaning, right? Self-esteem.
Oh, what a beautiful note. It is when you have that self-esteem that you can keep going on, that it's okay. What a
It's
beautiful way
okay.
to live. And what a beautiful way to face that worry and just to become calm. Well, there's always going to be that thing that shows up, but that worry is going to hit and you're going to say, I got this. And then you're okay. So, Michael, thank you so much for joining me today. It's just, no jest. It's been amazing to hear the wisdom that you have, to be able to share it with our friend. Please share how to get a hold of you, what you do, and then what's that one thing that I can try right now to help add that peace?
So, my name is Michael Kohan. I'm an ICF board certified life coach, fancy title. So, I work with individuals that are between the ages of like 35 to 55, male or female, professionals, spiritual, non religious, at a crossroad in life. There's an area of their life that's imbalanced. And I just help them figure out where the imbalances are through dialectic coaching. I teach skills like emotional intelligence, motivation, worry, fear, what these things are, and then how to work through them, along with classic life coaching, goal setting, time management habits. You can find me at the Elevate Life Project. So if you go there, I call it the Elevate Life Project because our goal in life is to elevate ourselves, and it's a forever project. Right? It's never finished. So you can go to the Elevate Life Project, and that's where you can find me. If you go there, I have a life assessment quiz where you can figure out what your purpose is if you're unsure, along with countless news articles, blog posts, coaching videos, and they're all for free. And you don't have to sign up for a mailing list or newsletter. It's all free of use for everybody. No strings attached.
How cool. I love the no strings attached. So, what's that one thing that I can practice this week?
And like I said in the podcast, the one thing that you can do is to find space between the busy. It is the hardest thing that you're going to do, I promise you, unless you're trying to quit smoking. That was pretty hard for me. But it's up there. It's like on par with quitting smoking or any other addiction, right? Finding that stillness is just as hard, promise you. To be in a room in silence or to be in a public space and not do anything and not feel the need to engage for 5 minutes every day. Over time, you will begin to be more comfortable with yourself. And that's the goal. Self-awareness, not self-blame.
I love it. Find a space. And I will enjoy the challenge. I will take it too. So thank you so much, Michael, for joining me today.
Thank you.
Friend, Michael and I are not medical or mental licensed professionals. We are here for our entertainment. People have been down a road, found some ways around our struggles, and want to help you find a way around yours. So thank you for tuning in and stay tuned for the next episode.
Are you tired of waking up exhausted? You are not alone. If you're looking to take your life back, let's start with the simple step of adjusting your self-talk. Stay tuned for the next episode with your host, Lara Jane. Remember to follow the show so you don't miss the next simple step that you can use to feel more confident. And please leave an honest review.